you are the definition of well-known, like in your space, in your communities. And that's what I want people to see, is to go like, everybody is modeling after like these
Uh-huh.
people with a bunch of followers, but like even the people with a bunch of followers, the equity they create is their offline relationships. And like,
Way to save it, Rory.
y-
Just trying to come back here.
yes. So tell us
How I've become so unwell known.
yeah. How have you become well paid without knowing anybody and anybody knowing you?
Wow. All right, guys, time to talk about some real truth. Most of us have been told, and most of us have believed a lie about what fame really is. And we're gonna share some real truth about fame and what really matters when it comes to building your personal brand. See, what most of us think is that becoming famous means going viral and having a huge social media following and being known by the wider world. But what we want to do is break it down and talk about micro fame, how to become famous to your audience. How do you become famous in your small niche, and why that matters more today than ever before. All right, Rory, I'm going to kick us off with a question.
All right.
About what?
You forgot to introduce me again.
I did. Please welcome my co-host, the co-founder of Brand Builders Group, my best friend, my husband, New York Times bestselling author, Hall of Fame speaker, Rory Vaden.
We were joking on another episode that I always introduce her and she always forgets to introduce me. She's just like, all right, let's get into it. Okay, anyways, now that that's out of the way, let's get into it.
Sorry.
Micro fame strategy. Love this conversation.
And really what I talk about is like how to become famous to your audience.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the part about becoming well known that people often just misconstrue. They're like, oh, this whole personal branding thing, it's about ego and vanity. It's a popularity contest. And it's like, no, it's not. It's about being known to the audience you want to serve,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's becoming famous in your niche, famous to your audience. And that is important because if you have something that really serves that audience, then you owe it to them to let them know that you exist,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's not how do you become like Mr. Pitbull worldwide over there. It's not being the Rock Dwayne Johnson, but it's how do you become famous in your niche.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about that. How do you do that? How do you become well known to the person that you want to be known by?
Yeah, I can tell you a strategy that I've never said out loud before about how to develop micro fame, and it's not something that people talk about a lot or expect to hear.
Well, you've been holding out on us.
Well, I've never had this question posed in this
Well, there you
way,
go.
but I actually, one of the questions on our sheet here is how do you get podcast invitations when you're not famous yet? And I kind of consider myself a master of that. Like I have gotten on many of the biggest podcasts in the world and like am so far away from famous or like what most of the other guests are. And that question and the way you teed this up made me think about, how have we really done this? And here's a strategy that you've never heard before, and I've never talked about this. Figure out in any niche, there's like 15 people that really matter a lot. Like there's 15, like if you just said, who are the 15 people that matter most in my space? And then ask yourself, how could I be extraordinarily valuable to those 15 people? And if you actually did that, which is what we have done, right? We figured out these are the people who are very important in our space.
Influential.
Very influential. Rather than trying to go viral, reaching millions, we said, how can we become extraordinarily valuable to these 15 people?
Mm-hmm.
And we did that, and they became the gateway to other people. And I think that strategy is not one that is just unique to us. I think that is how you create micro fame, is you figure out who are the most influential people. It's a small group. And rather than shotgunning to try to go viral and reach the whole world, there's a small number of people in any sort of niche or industry or vertical that really are the people who matter. And if you can figure out how to be extraordinarily valuable to them, then you'll ride in their wake and they will take you everywhere you want to go.
So I love that. And I think that is, it's like, yeah, how can you provide use, resources? How can you be of service
Mhm.
to someone else? Like, what have you learned? What have you gained? What do you have that you can give to someone else to build a relationship? Right. So give us some ideas, like for someone who's out there going, love that. I could do that. How do I do that?
Yeah.
What would you say?
Let's talk about how not to do it.
Okay.
Here's what most people do is they go, "Oh, these are the 15 people that matter in my space." And they think about how could I get on their show? How could I get on their stage? How
Right.
could I get they think about what they could
Get,
get.
not the give.
That's the wrong question.
Yeah.
The whole mindset has to be, what can I give? How can I be useful? It's redirecting your reticular activating system in the opposite of how everybody
With
else
no
thinks about.
expectations of anything in return, no monetary compensation. It's just how can I be of use?
That's right. Yeah, and we actually inside of our
Mm.
pressure free persuasion course, we teach that sales starts with relationships. I've never
Always.
heard anyone else talk about sales that relationships is actually the first part of our cycle of selling. We call it the service centered selling cycle. And you go
Oh, that's a lot of S. Serve it,
service
selling.
centered
Oh gosh.
sales cycle.
Say it again.
Yeah,
Service
service centered
centered selling
sales cycle.
cycle.
Yeah.
There we go. It's a lot of
um,
lot of that going on.
and we have something that's just called like the relational equity matrix. And we go, okay, what are all the things you can do? So one is you can give people encouragement. You can send people referrals. You can send people recommended vendors. You can help them hire people. You can advise them on some portion of their business. You can send them gifts. You can create experiences for them. You can volunteer for them. Like there's all of these things that you can do for people that add value to them. And it's not just money. If you have money, some of it is, right? Like, a lot of if you're trying to get to really, really successful people, it's like, don't and you have money, donate money to their foundation, volunteer to be on their board. But like the way to get to people is not by saying, what can I do for you? Or what can I get from you? It's what can I do for you? And it's really
Mm,
just being open to what do they need.
mhm.
I use the story of Gretchen Rubin a lot, who's not a Brand Builders Group client and, has over the years become more and more of a friend. But all I did was wait for when she had a book launch, reached out to her, pitched her to be on my podcast. And I said, hey, I don't have a huge podcast, but I know a lot of podcasters. And if you come on my show and I get a feel for what you're looking for, I will personally go out and pitch you to like 20 shows. And she did that, and I did that, and we became friends. And it was been a slow relationship
Mhm.
over the years. But those are the kinds of things. It's not what can I get, it's what can I give.
That's good.
And there's lots of different things you can give people, even if you
Oh, yeah.
can't give them an audience because you don't have an audience. There's other things you have that you can give.
Yeah, everyone has something. It's just
Definitely.
how do you position that in the best service to the person you're trying to build a relationship
And
with?
it starts by doing something that you actually do really, really well. It's it's listening by watching.
Mhm,
It's not just listening like listening to what they say. You watch what they're involved with, you watch what they're interested in,
mhm.
you watch what they're doing, and you sort of anticipate the needs that they have. Because you can't ask them, "What do you need?" Then you're just creating work for them to do.
I
But
would tell you, like, to that, and I love that. You should probably formalize that strategy and share it more often. That's really good. One of the things that I have become really focused and intentional about doing is every single time I meet someone as they're talking, my number one objective is to pinpoint who I can introduce them to.
mhm.
Like, it doesn't matter how long I've known you, how long I've talked to you. It could be 5 minutes or 5 hours. Every conversation's gonna end with, "I have someone you should meet. You said something that made me think about this. Let me know if you'd like an introduction." I do that no matter what, to every client, every prospect, every friend, every stranger. Like, if you're engaged with me, my number one goal is who can I connect you to? I am very intentionally trying to become a connector in every single conversation. I just think that's one of the most value-ridden things that I can provide is valuable connection.
And it's mutually valuable to both of
Mhm.
them and valuable to you as a
But that's
byproduct.
also something that I'm intentionally wanting to become known for. And so I'm very intentional about everywhere I go. It's like I want people to know that they can come to me for connections and referrals and resources.
Mm,
Like I want to be known as the person to go to if you're looking for blank kind of connection. And I think that's just that. And I share that only because anyone can do it. Like anyone can do that. You don't have to have some like Navy SEAL expertise or like some like secret skill set. Anyone can become a master connector.
totally. And I've always been a big believer. One of my favorite quotes is that Mark Twain quote that says, "Every man is my superior in some way." Related to that,
Mhm.
I've always thought to myself, everybody is a somebody somewhere,
Yeah.
right? Like everyone has a hookup or a connection
To
to
something
to
somewhere.
something somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
And if you can figure out what does
Mhm.
everybody have the like hookup to and the connection, and then other people need that and vice versa, it's just like you become this facilitator, this conduit, and the value rubs off on you as you create all of these connections.
Oh, yeah.
So that
But
leads
I love that just for a second, like, for those of you who are going, "Well, I don't know anybody," like, I I don't have anything I could offer. It's like, first of all, that's a terribly limiting mindset. So whoever's listening, who's already saying that as you're listening, driving down the road, it's like, stop that right now. But it's like, I literally was thinking about like, I have a person to go to. I'm like, hey, who's selling raw milk out of their trunk? Like, where can I find it? Or, like it doesn't matter like what it is. It's like, oh, I got a friend who does that. I have a friend who sells raw milk, or I have a friend who has fresh eggs, or, I have a friend who whatever. It's like,
Mhm.
no matter what it is. So it doesn't matter what the thing is or what your socioeconomic status is, everybody knows somebody somewhere.
Right.
And so it's like really try to train your brain on like how can I just become a resource? But that only works if you're actually listening. Like, if you're actually listening, like, I was in a conversation earlier this week with a couple of other parents who homeschool their kids, and our kids are homeschooled. And I always have to clarify, I am not a homeschooler because then people will hear that and think I am. I am not. I'm not equipped for that amazing role. But our kids are homeschooled. They go to a homeschool academy. And so they were talking about, well, how did you do that? And how'd you get into that? And I was like, oh, well, let me tell you. And like, I had like 3 or 4 like teed up resources, had nothing to do with work. It was all about homeschool. And I'm like, well, this is where we, register with, and this is how we did this, and this is who I go to do the fat for that. It doesn't matter what it is,
Mhm.
right? It's like whatever it is, have your list. Be a resource, but you got to listen for it.
Yep, whatever you're into.
Whatever it is.
That's a good transition to this question I think is powerful. And it is, what's the difference between being well known and being well paid?
Mhm.
Um, and how do I achieve both? But let's start with the first part of the question of what's the difference between being well known and well paid? Do you have to be well known to be well paid? And I'm curious your thoughts on this because
Oh,
you've become well paid over the years and you're not necessarily the most famous
so rude.
person.
So
That's
rude.
my introduction.
She knows no one and no one knows
No,
her. Uh,
everybody. Here's the thing is you are the definition of well known, like in your space, in your communities. And that's what I want people to see is to go like everybody is modeling after like these
uh-huh.
people with a bunch of followers, but like even the people with a bunch of followers, the equity they create is their offline relationships. And like
Way to save it, Rory.
y-
Just trying to come back here.
yes, so tell us.
How I've become so unwell known.
Yeah,
Um,
how have you become well paid without knowing anybody and anybody knowing you?
well, I actually was going to start with both of those things are really relative. It's like, what is well known
And what is well paid?
and what is well paid? I think that's all super relative based on who you're talking to, right? Like, yeah, if you compare me to Mel Robbins, I'm very unknown,
Yeah,
comparatively speaking. But if you compare me to, Sally Joe down the street, I'm probably fairly well known. So I think it's all relative.
it's
I,
good.
I think the balance in all of that is don't compare yourself to anyone else. And I think that's probably why I've always been fairly well paid, as I don't really compare myself too much to other people. I don't really care what they're doing. I never really have. That's a gift I've been
It
given.
is.
My
You have a 0 impressibility score.
yeah,
Like, other than Dolly Parton, there's nobody in the world that impresses you.
she's impressive. I'm not gonna lie, she's impressive. But I do really think it comes down to this whole idea of being well known. And what I love about the conversation today is I don't need to be well known by a lot of people. I need to be well known by my people. And that all starts with knowing who my people are. I go into some, like Rory very much represents like the marketing side, like the digital marketing side of BBG. And, he's always trying to get me to go to like these different events with him with all these very well known like influencer and, and I'm like, that's not my people. Those are your people. Like, I don't fit there. Like, I try and I'm like, they're talking about all this stuff and I just glaze over. I'm like, I don't know, like I dozed off, blacked out. I just not my thing. And what I have been really okay with is like, I know my people. Like, and I'm pretty well known in the entrepreneur crowd
Mhm.
of our town because I make an effort to be so, right? I'm involved in the entrepreneur organization. I do networking lunches with them. I host dinners for them. I help be on boards with them. It's like I'm trying to be well known in this space where I want to be well known. And it's not a huge space. It's a very niche space in my town. So it's small, but that's where I want to be known. And so that's where I focus my time and attention. And I think that's what it means to be well known is you just have to be very clear on who do I want to be known by and where are they? And you got to show up.
Yeah, the other thing is you're talking this ties back to what we were saying earlier, is I'm realizing, ironically, one of the best ways to become well known is to help other people meet each other.
Mhm.
And when you help other people meet each other, you get caught in the crossfire, like, going back to my Gretchen Rubin story, right? It's like Gretchen Rubin would never know who I am today if I had never introduced her to all these people and introduced her to this, like, mastermind that I'm in that now she's a part of,
Mhm.
right? And it's like, now I am somebody to her, and she would recognize me, not because of my accomplishments and my audience and, like, I mean, she sold so many books compared to how many books I've sold or whatever, right? But it's like I'm known to her because I helped her know other people. And I think the same is true about wealth, right? It's like if you want to help other people, if you want to get wealthy, help other people get
Yeah.
wealthy. One of my favorite quotes I heard recently was billionaires are just people who create millionaires.
Yeah, I love that. So good.
So good
Yeah.
and so true, right? And it's like everyone's approaching it. This whole conversation is about flipping this switch from going, how do I get and how do I become, to how do I give and how do I help others become? And
Mhm.
the irony is that when you focus on how do I give and help others become, you get.
Yeah.
When you focus on how do I get and how do I become, you don't get.
Yeah.
And that is just like super ironic.
Yeah, and the thing that we can all give is introductions and connections. Doesn't matter. And so I guess back to how do you become well known? It's one, it's relative, right? Don't compare. But most importantly, it's like you got to know who you want to be well known, and you have to know where they gather, and then you have to show up consistently, right? And so I think that is how you become well known in a niche space, right? Famous in your space. Now, on the other part of well paid, again, relative, right? It's all relative. So, one, just don't compare whatever well paid is to you, whatever well known is to you. A lot of you are trying to build local presence. Own it, be good with it. Some of you are just like, I would just like, it's my dream to make six figures. Awesome. Don't compare yourself to someone trying to make eight figures. Don't do it. It's not worth it. So just stay in your lane, put some blinders on, and be like, this is my calling. This is my path, my race. You can only run your race. You cannot run someone else's. With all of that said, how to become well paid, you just said that awesome quote is that the billionaires are just people who make millionaires. I heard another quote here recently similar to that I've really latched onto is that seven figure earners master the basics that six figure earners are too advanced to do.
Hmm.
And I've really hung on to that of like, no, seven figure earners are just people who are not above doing the basics and the fundamentals. They are masters of the basics that six figure earners are too advanced to do. And I think that's so good and it's so wise and a great reminder to all of us is that making money is not hard. It's a numbers game and it requires you to become a master of the basics, which is work the numbers.
Literally, I think even us, right? We've had multiple eight-figure ventures now at this point, 3. Um, and the you and I spend our time going, how do we get more calls on the calendar? How do we renew more customers?
Same conversation
How do we get more referrals?
constantly.
And even on our financial calls, it's like we're just trying to get our P&L tight and go like get it accurate and go, are these benchmarks in place? And what is it compared to our budget? And what is it over prior year?
Very boring,
Like
but
the
very
most
important.
fundamentals. I had somebody reach out to me, a friend of ours that we haven't seen for a few years. Um, and he reached out to me with the most beautiful question. And this is someone who doesn't earn a lot of money. But it was a really beautiful question. And I was honored that he reached out. I don't even know if I told you this. But he has a son and he's a single dad. And he said, if I could just save up $5,000 for my son, Rory, I know you know this stuff. Tell me what to do with it so that he could have money when he's grown up. Right. And this is like a friend of ours that doesn't have a hard
Yeah, I know
worker.
exactly who you're
You
talking
know
about.
who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I was like, first of all, such a beautiful question to go, this dad is trying to change the legacy of his family. Like he's trying to do something for his son. Um, and he is going, I want my son to have a better life than I do, or a different life than I have. Next, I was totally honored that he reached out to me. I'm just like, out of nowhere, I haven't talked to this guy in a couple years. And I was like, I am so flattered and honored that you would ask me and that you think I would actually have some type of answer. And then I definitely responded with a very thorough but simple answer. As I said, AJ and I don't do crazy investments. We don't own like a whole bunch
Yeah.
of stuff. We do growth stock mutual funds and we invest early. And I said, if you just take $5,000 and you put this in a simple IRA, and you don't try to gamble and make bazillions, and you just because of your son's age, he's like
Let it build.
5 years old, if it grew at 8% for 60 years, they would be worth over $500,000. And that was powerful, and also, I hope the lesson in for him was like, it's simple. Like, it's simple stuff.
Yeah.
Most people are like, "How do I get rich quick? How do I?" It's like, "Oh, I want crypto. I want solar. I wanna own 27 companies. I need to invest in 47 different
Yeah.
and I want apartment complexes. And I want fix and flip, and I want all this stuff." And it's like, no, we're like really boring with our
We're awesomely
we're
boring.
awesomely boring.
Awesomely boring.
And
Yeah.
and I also think back, a lot of my friends that when we started Brand Builders Group, which it was our, a new endeavor at the time, a lot of them go, "I can't believe how fast you've grown." And they're like, "I remember when you talked about 1,000 messengers when you started the company, and, like, you actually are still doing the thing." Like, we
Mhm.
haven't even gotten there yet, but we haven't changed direction. Like,
Yep.
it's been the thing.
Yep.
It's totally the
It
fundamentals.
is the fundamentals. It's not the sexy thing that everyone wants to talk about, but it's becoming a master of the basics. And to be well paid, it's like you got to work the numbers, right? It really is a work the numbers. It's just you don't, and that's the beautiful thing about it is like you don't have to be a masterful marketer or a masterful salesperson. You just got to work the numbers and let the ratios fall out. And the more you do it, the better you get. It's kind of a great thing. Like, I would say the only thing that has made me a pretty good salesperson over the years is, like, I'm just gonna outlast everybody else. My follow-up game is strong, right? My organization game, my calendaring game is strong. It's like, I'm just gonna outlast everyone else that just gets bored and moves on. It's master the fundamentals and work the numbers.
Another thing on this monetization strategy is the David and Goliath. And everyone knows the story of David and Goliath, but also Malcolm Gladwell wrote a book
Book,
called
yeah.
David and Goliath. And the argument that Malcolm Gladwell makes in that book, and it's a fascinating book, as is everything he writes, is that we all think that David, like, had this miraculous moment where he overcame
Oh,
the
yeah.
giant. And there's an argument for that for sure, and God was with David.
But God equipped David,
And what
prepared David.
and what Malcolm, the argument he makes is he says, yeah, but David also had an advantage. This guy was huge and was weighed down by all of this armor. David was nimble and quick, and he had spent his young life fighting lions with a
And bears,
slingshot.
yeah.
So this wasn't just like a random lucky shot. He had spent his life preparing, and this particular set of circumstances worked to his advantage. The reason I point that out, a lot of people listening that don't have huge followings, they think they're at a disadvantage of like, huh, I'm not famous enough. No one is going to buy from me, etc. Or they think I'm new to entrepreneurship. How am I ever going to compete with people who've been doing this for 20 years?
Mhm.
And what you don't realize is that the earlier you are, you have an advantage. And the advantage is that you have more time, right? When you either have time or you have money, and you always know which one it is, because if you don't have time, if you don't have money, then that means you have time or you're not spending your time right. But when you're starting out, you can offer a level of service that is intimate and up close and personal,
Yeah.
that is worth way more money to fewer people.
Mhm.
It's easier to sell higher dollar offers to fewer people who pay you more for more attention. That is the fastest path to a lot of money. People who have huge audiences and huge teams, they can't offer that level of service because they don't have that much time available because they're busy managing their team and managing the empire and all this stuff. So what you think is a disadvantage actually is an advantage. It's like David being small and nimble and quick. And when you're new to this business, here's the other thing. You can charge less, right? Like people who are famous and have a lot of demand, they can't sell one-on-one coaching for a low dollar amount because the demand is so high. They have to charge more because they don't have that much time available. You can. What you have the advantage of when you're just starting out is supply. You have lots of supply. Now, demand is low and supply is high, which means the price is low. That's an advantage. You can go to the market and sell at a lower price, which is what you should do. And then you raise your prices over time. So what feels like a disadvantage of not being famous actually totally is. What feels like a disadvantage of being new as an entrepreneur actually is a tremendous advantage. You just got to change the mindset
Mhm.
and the limiting beliefs that are there.
Yeah, I love that. All right. Well, this is a good transition into our community question. All right, Rory, tell us what this section's all about and what's the question of the day.
Community question. So this is great, right? So at Brand Builders Group, we have members that are in part of our coaching program that we foster relationship and help them build their business. And inside of our actual portal, they can write in questions to me and AJ, and other members vote up the questions, and then the top ones we pick here for the show. So this one comes from Michelle. It says, I am a nutritionist who works specifically with women over 40 going through perimenopause. I know exactly who I serve and I love the work. But there are so many health and wellness influencers out there that I feel completely invisible. How do I break through and become the go-to name for my exact client without competing with people who have 10 times my following and 100 times my budget? What a perfect question for what we've just been talking
I was
about.
just thinking the same thing. That's just the perfect question for you. Women over 40 going through perimenopause. Can you not relate to that? Exactly. I love this question. It's like, how do I break through and become the go-to name for my exact client? So, what I love about this is that, again, knowing what you do and who you are, I bet you don't need thousands of clients. I bet you couldn't even handle hundreds of clients. I bet you're looking for dozens of clients.
If even dozens.
That's my bet. So, how do you become the go to name for your exact client? Assuming you have some clients, it's to double down on those clients. It is to give them a life changing experience and then ask them to refer you to their friends. And that's the unique thing about your exact business, Michelle, is that women over 40 going through perimenopause, they know other women who are over 40 going through perimenopause because we're all talking about it.
That's for
Right?
sure.
Everybody's talking about it, right? So you can find them. You know where they are, right? And so it's like, one, it's like, don't forget the best client you have or the best client to get is the one that you already have. So use those people to get referrals and get referred. But don't just ask for a referral. Be like, hey, I know this is a hot topic with everyone. I'd love to host a lunch. If you would just invite 5 friends, I would love to do a free luncheon, a free webinar. It's like, just ask every single one of your clients, like, if you would invite 5 of your best friends who are going through the exact same thing you are, I'd love to take everyone to coffee. I'd love to host a lunch. I'll do a virtual webinar, whatever it is. If you have local clients, great. If they're out of town, fine, do it virtually. But just start going like, I just want to meet these people in person. I want to look them in the eye. I want to learn what their issues are, and I want to let them know that there's a better way. And start with the clients that you have. Do coffees, do luncheons, do happy hours, do Saturday morning workouts, and ask people to invite people to come with them. Your clients, invite their friends. We're all talking about, we all know who each other are. That's where I would start. Then the next thing that I would do, because you don't need 10 times the following and 100 times the budget, is I'd start going to every single person who services these people who are over 40 going through perimenopause. I'd build relationships. I'd start with my OBGYN, right? I'd start with my physician. I would start with every single person that serves me as a 42-year-old woman, not yet going through perimenopause, but like I would start there. And it's like, these are all the people that serve me. I'm going to start building relationships with the people because I know they have more people like me, right? I know they know more people like me. And I'm going to just take that grassroots, local referral, word of mouth marketing because I serve my clients so well. It's an easy yes because I'm giving them life-changing results. It's an easy yes to invite other people into something for free to learn about what I do. That's what I would do if I were you.
Yes, this is so good. And I have to come back
Mm,
here to the story of David and Goliath in the Bible. There is one of the if you read scripture on this story, it is going how they tried to suit David up in armor.
mm,
And he said, I can't wear this armor. David was smart enough to know, or spirit led enough to know, that he couldn't compete with Goliath at his own game, size versus size. David was smart enough to say, I'm going to embrace my strengths and the things that God's given me, and I'm going to use those tools, a slingshot and no armor. And small entrepreneurs need to do the same thing. You might not be able to compete on size of audience. What you can compete on is intimacy and access to the clients. Serve a smaller group of clients in a deeper
yeah,
way. Uh, you can make $100,000 by selling 1,000 people $100 product. You got to have a big audience to sell 1,000 people $100 product. The other way you can make $100,000 is to sell 10 people a $10,000 product. And it's way easier to do that and serve a small group of 10 people
mm.
in a very, very deep way. That's how I'd be thinking. I'd be doing exactly the things that you said.
Yeah, and if you're out there listening and you're going, well, how do I take all this information and apply it to what I'm building, to my audience, to my business, then honestly, we would just really encourage you to take us up on our free call offer. One of our team members at Brand Builders Group will sit down with you for a 1-hour free strategy call to talk about what you got going on, how we can help, and even if we're not a fit with you, give you some tips and advice and some instruction to keep you on the right path. So if you want to take us up on that, we would encourage you to go to freebrandcall.com/podcast, freebrandcall.com/podcast, and grab a call with someone on our team so that you can talk through how can you take some of these ideas and apply them to help you grow your business and serve the audience that you're meant to serve. Now, we'd also love it if you would share this episode. So if you're not ready for that call, but you're all like, wow, this was helpful. I have more friends who need to hear this. Then please share this, like it, leave us a review on whatever platform you listen to it. We would so appreciate it. And most importantly, we invite you to come back and listen to another episode the next time on the Wealthy and Well-Known podcast. We'll see you later, y'all. Listen up. You do not need the whole internet to know your name.
Just the ones who are in your wonderfully weird little corner of it.